The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
A Honda is more than just a vehicle. It's a gateway to spring adventure. Start your adventures with Honda, the brand owners are calling the most fun to drive. This spring, get a new 2022 Honda Pilot, CR-V, Passport, or Ridgeline. Hurry into a local Honda dealer where new vehicles are arriving daily.
See dealer for financing details. 2021 ACSI survey of customers rating the performance of their own automobiles.
Great news from Rocket Mortgage. You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In fact, in the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could unlock all that cash in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up, because nobody knows how long these low rates will last. Put your hard-earned money to work. Make your life better. Build a home office. Remodel your kitchen. Or simply save that cash for a rainy day. Today's rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.25%, 3.48% APR, so you can lock in a great low monthly payment. When you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with getting outside with lots of friends and family. Get those spring gatherings going with our 5-piece dining sets at our everyday low price starting at $6.28. Then cook up an endless amount of possibilities with our Blackstone griddles starting at $2.99. Create a season full of togetherness and make spring sizzle. At Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 to 4/6, U.S. only.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Oh, it's the last show of March, first show of April. Whatever you call it. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this will be the 1st of April. Well, not the first.
Yes.
Well, actually, wait. It will come out on the 1st, won't it?
Yeah, we're recording March 29th, so.
Yeah. Oh, April Fool's then.
Yeah. April
Psych,
Fool's.
we just end the podcast.
April Fool's. Oh,
59 minutes of silence.
Oh, yeah, and that's it. See ya. See you next week, everybody.
Yeah, so, boy, what's everybody talking about?
Right?
We're recording this on Tuesday, 2 days after the slap heard round the internet.
Yeah.
So, did you see the footage?
Yes.
Are you
I
up
heard
on
the footage, and I've seen.
Can't avoid it.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of the slap?
I think.
Whose team are you on?
I think I'm on Team Fake.
No, it's not. You're 100% wrong. Sorry. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that was faked. I cannot believe it. I mean, it looked like a real slap. Everybody reacted like it was a real slap. Chris Rock looked pretty shocked and had to compose himself. I think, hats off to Chris Rock. He took that slap like a man. And I mean that. I know a lot of people think the manly thing to do, and a lot of other people in Chris Rock's situation would have struck right back. And there would have been a brawl on that fucking stage.
That happened at the Source Awards in the mid-'90s. Will Smith be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be talking about Will Smith's memorial coming up soon. But I just, hear me out. Ratings for the last 5 years, anytime they thought more people couldn't watch any less, they'd be like, oh yeah, check this shit out. Ratings were at all time, every time they thought they were at all time low, they'd go lower.
Okay, but if that was your only piece of evidence, I might agree with you, but there's way too much stacked up against you on this. I mean, first of all, Will Smith's reaction was he laughed, right? So if he's supposed to be cued, okay, I'm going to do a joke about your wife, and then you're going to get mad, and then you're going to smack me, right? So then his immediate reaction would be, oh, there's my cue. Here's where I get mad. But he didn't. his immediate reaction was natural. He laughed at the joke.
I mean, I guess just we live in this the reality TV world, and I just keep thinking about like
that's not a defense.
Andy
like
Kaufman
you gotta give me
Jerry
something
Lawler.
other than like then it's possible. Like you gotta have a piece of evidence if you're going to convince me that this is faked, because it looked real, it felt real. I mean,
the person who won the Best Actor Academy Award was involved in it.
Yeah,
if you're giving him an award for acting, I'd say he could pull it off, making the whole world believing it's real.
With Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a great comedian, not a great actor. And plus they're talking about possibly taking Will Smith's award from him because of his conduct. The Academy is. So if the Academy's in on it, I mean, it was a deep state Academy
I guess
operation.
that's the other thing is like no cops. Nobody came out. I guess that's
for what? Chris Rock didn't press any charges. Who would have called the cops?
No, but I'm saying that happens at most award shows. I mean, as soon as Will Smith gets close enough to hit him, there'd be a couple cops coming out trying to get between them. I guess. I don't know.
No. You mean like security?
Yeah.
They don't stop stars from going up on stage. They didn't stop Kanye when he went up and took the microphone from Taylor Swift.
Right on that. But he also wasn't going at her like he was going to hit her either. I don't know.
Look, you saw, I mean, if you saw the footage, Chris Rock wasn't expecting to get slapped, right? He was hands behind his back, leaning forward like, oh, what's this? Like, Will Smith's got something to say, huh? I think he was probably getting ready to be like, oh, you want to go toe to toe with me on wit? I will destroy you.
Brooklyn and Philly about to throw down on national TV.
Yeah, not expecting to get a hand. But I mean, honestly, I think that I am 100% Chris Rock fan on this because the Smiths are fucking assholes. Right? Will Smith 100% wrong for wanting to smack anybody over a joke.
The other thing too is it's in entertainment. How long your skin is not out.
Right. I understand getting hot about something, and shit happens, but it's never a proper excuse. These guys, he said something about my mother, so I had to punch him. No, you didn't. Usually that's the guy that's looking to punch somebody and somebody gave him an excuse, right? Somebody says something about my mom. My first reaction is not to punch them, right? And Chris Rock's first reaction was not to strike back, thankfully. But yeah, Will Smith was 100% wrong on this. And then his apology was bullshit. He apologized for his conduct, but he didn't apologize to the person that he assaulted. And, like I stated earlier, his initial reaction was laughter. He thought the joke was funny. Then he looked over at his wife, realized that she didn't think it was funny. And here's why fuck Jada Pinkett Smith. Not just because she can't take a joke. That's just human. If she was just salty about this and had words to say about Chris Rock, I'd listen. I can understand being insulted, but whatever she did, whether she said to Will Smith to go up there and do something about it or not, she didn't stop him when he got up, right? That's her fucking job. Your man just stood up and is obviously in one way or another going to make an ass out of himself on national television, international television. Your job is to grab your man by the arm and say, honey, it's okay.
Then maybe I'd like to enter that into evidence.
Evidence of what?
That she just let him do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just the fact
okay,
that it's
so
the fact
evidence,
that
evidence is an asshole. No, okay. All right. We can't talk about this anymore if you're going to be so stubborn about this. I'm not trying to be stubborn. Evidence.
Just the fact
you have zero evidence that it's faked. You have zero.
My evidence put on by the entertainment industry in a room full of actors and directors. Like there's.
What have they faked before?
Nothing that we know of.
Okay.
I'm just saying we live in the reality world. We live in the reality world culture. I'm just saying, eventually Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman went, hey, guess what, everybody? It was fake.
Yeah. Like, I don't see how you could watch that footage and think that it was faked. Like, we've seen, these people act under specific circumstances. We've seen evidence year after year of them, quote unquote, acting in little skits or trying to act interested or trying to act like they have some sort of charisma, and they fail miserably. That's why I don't watch these shows. They're usually dry and boring. They're not funny. They're not entertaining. And it's a bunch of people who are talented being completely stiff and out of their element. They are not, this is not a bunch of like adept, improvers.
I'll give you that. It's just, I guess I'm just always gonna just have that, like, it's Hollywood. I'm always gonna have that just kind of nagging, like.
Yeah. But overall, I thought that, it was a good Oscars. I didn't watch any of it, except for the smack. But as far as the awards that were given out, sure, there's always going to be some of those like, oh, saw that movie. But there was a lot less of that this year. I think they were well-deserved outside of Will Smith. I actually didn't see King Richard, so I can't really claim. Like, I don't think he deserves it because of his conduct. I'd be fine if they took it away from him. I didn't see King Richard. I think it's kind of weird to make a movie that's about the dad, and then the guy who plays the dad gets the award for the movie and gets up there, and I don't remember him saying anything about Venus or Serena Williams. They're still around, right? Were they even invited? The movie was about without those two, there's no King Richard movie.
Oh, allegedly one of them had her titty hanging out the whole time Will Smith was giving his acceptance speech.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
and was not aware of it.
Yeah. Well, then that's even weirder that that at least one of them was in the room, and he was so wrapped up in his own bullshit and drama that he created,
right?
That he couldn't even take the time to properly thank one of the two sisters that was in the fucking room. This guy and his wife are up their own ass. That's how they live. I have no respect for either of them. I mean, what little I might have had went out the window.
You got no love for the Fresh Prince?
No.
Hey, it was nice to see Amy Schumer return to comedy.
Was she funny?
Oh, yeah. She took like 5 years off.
What has she been doing this whole time? I mean, she made some movies, right? But she hasn't been doing stand-up?
Well, she had a kid. She got married.
Oh, okay.
But also her last couple stand-up specials were not good.
Yeah. So she's actually back to being funny again.
Yes. Like her one, the leather one, that one was just awful. And then, she turned into like a half comedian, half activist for a couple of years. It's like,
right.
Remember comedy? Remember being funny?
Right. She reached that period where her jokes started becoming about like herself, basically. Like you can't really like.
Well, I was like, I used to watch. I think that Samantha Bee show still on, right? But I used to watch it because it was funny. And then Trump got elected, and then it was like a lecture for half hour it was like.
Right, and now you're an activist. Yeah,
that's kind of what Amy Schumer did.
Right. Like doing comedy was your form of activism. She did political comedy, and then she was like, there's no time for comedy. Why? Because we need another pundit? That's what we needed to defeat Trump? Another talking head that was just going to repeat this?
About him, yeah.
That was just going to repeat his name endlessly like everybody else and say they have the same talking points on everything?
George Carlin always rode that line.
He did, yeah.
He was political, but then that was like maybe 2 minutes of his half hour. Then the rest of his half hour was him being George Carlin.
Well, he was political, but he was consistent. Regardless of who was in office, he understood that their job was to fuck you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. He talked shit about all the parties, all the presidents. I love Rich and I use his quote all the time. It's a big club and you ain't in it.
So did you see any of the winners? Did you watch Coda? Coda was actually a really good movie.
No.
I think it's kind of weird that it won Best Picture, but because it's not anything revolutionary, right? It's a coming of age story. Coda stands for, if you haven't heard yet, Child of Deaf Adults.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got her family, her mother, father, and her brother, her older brother, are all deaf, and she's the only one who can hear. And so she gets put in these positions of having to be around to be translator for certain things and help out with certain things, and she feels like she's got the her whole family relying on her, and meanwhile she's about to graduate and has to decide what she's going to do with her life, and she really wants to sing. So, like, it's nothing groundbreaking.
Oh, so yeah, I remember seeing previews for this and being like, isn't this kind of like Mr. Holland's Opus in reverse?
Yeah, it's a story that we've seen a number of times, but my God, it's done really well. And honestly, I think Nightmare Alley is a better movie. I think it's more interesting. It's braver movie than Coda. But I mean, you got to give it to the coming of age movie at some point, right? Like, just because they make these movies, a couple of them a year, and most of them are not worth watching. Every once in a while, one pops up that is exceptional, and Coda really is.
Except every few years, one wins, right?
Yeah, and I think like the whole cast is like super solid. The lead is really charming. It's legitimately funny. It's like laugh out loud funny, and yeah, it really is a fantastic movie. I was glad to see it get the best picture.
Good, because at least word of mouth on that one's been consistent. Where the one, what is it, The Power of the Dog or whatever? It seems like people either loved it or thought it was a piece of shit.
Well, I think it's controversial, and certainly Sam Elliott didn't help at all with his comments, which were made out of complete ignorance. But all he had to say is it's not a Western, right? And I think the problem with that movie was that people were so used to like categorizing movies, and we saw pictures of Benedict Cumberbatch with a cowboy hat on, and we're like, oh, he's doing a Western. No, it's not a Western. It's not a Western at all. Like, nobody fires a fucking gun in this thing.
He's just wearing a hat.
He just likes the hat. That's it. It has nothing to do with any Western ever. But, for some reason, Sam Elliott got it stuck in his head that the movie was purporting to be a Western, and so he declared it definitely not a Western, and everyone was like, yeah, we know. And then he got stupid about my types of Westerns don't have gay people in them or something like that. They're not about homosexuality. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's because the movie's not a Western. That's why that shit's in there. They didn't make a Western and say, oh, what if we just cram some homo shit into it?
What if the cowboys fucked each other?
Well, we saw that movie. That was Brokeback Mountain. Also, not a Western.
It's more like a camping movie.
The setting wasn't really important to the story. You could have told that at any time. And, we wouldn't have... If this was set in modern period, then Sam Elliott wouldn't have even considered watching it. He'd be like, that's not my kind of movie.
I saw Dune just dominated all the technical Oscars.
As it should have. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And the story is what it is. I can't say that the movie was captivating in the way of story, but definitely captivating in the way of visuals. So yeah, it got like best editing, it got, Joe Walker for film editing.
Got a lot of the actual movie making type Oscars.
Hans Zimmer got best score.
Then it gets best special effects.
Yeah, which is great. Although I would have liked to see Johnny Greenwood get an award. He's been doing a lot. He did the soundtrack for Power of the Dog. He did the soundtrack for another award-winning film, one that's on my list to watch, but I haven't seen it yet. Drive My Car. He's been doing a lot of film work lately, and it's really interesting stuff. Like, I like
Radiohead does anything.
Sorry?
It's not like Radiohead's doing anything.
Well, actually, no. Radiohead isn't doing anything, but they have a new project. I think it's called Smile. It's him and, what's his name? The singer, and somebody else doing like production on it. So there's kind of like a Radiohead side project.
Wasn't that the name of a Brian Wilson project? And also...
It was, yeah.
I believe it was also the name of Queen's first name.
Oh, was it?
They called themselves Smile.
Yeah, that was... Smile was the Lost album. So that was after Pet Sounds. Brian Wilson made Smile and never got it released because the label was like, no, enough of this bullshit.
What wasn't Smile the one where he was like, hooray, drugs?
He was already well on his way, and also not really mentally stable before he started taking drugs.
It wasn't Smile, or he was indulging it, I should say.
Yeah, he was having a total mental breakdown is what was happening. He completely fried his brain. And then sure enough, after years of hearing about this album and hearing demos and unreleased stuff, he finally does get to make it, and everyone's like, oh yeah. Yep, that's Beach Boys album, all right.
I found myself listening to some Beach Boys lately.
Oh, I love Beach Boys. Yeah, I think that the label didn't release Smile for a reason, and it's because it's not as good as Pet Sounds, and they weren't satisfied. And there was many other things going on with the relationship between, well, not even just Brian Wilson and the label. All of his dealings with the label were going through his father. So really, it's about Murray. Brian Wilson and his father. Yeah, come on, boys. I know. Hey, I'm a star too.
Yeah, I'm
a
genius too. Come on,
I'm a genius too. Let's go. I love those.
I think the engineers and producers got enough credit for doing the shit that they were doing when they were doing it.
Yeah. Well, it was Brian Wilson who was pushing, he was looking at what everybody else was doing. He was looking at what Miles Davis and, I forget what was the producer that he made, Bitches Brew with. That was one of the first times that we saw, that they actually had the idea of comping. So we really like this solo from this take, but we like, this other part from another take of the same song. So the original tracks that are on Bitches Brew are all edits. They're all, I don't think any of them are just one take, which is how we do it now traditionally it's how we do it with rock and pop music and stuff that has more of a set structure to it, and it's easy to edit and just move stuff around. But Brian Wilson, he's doing stuff with tape editing and comping and overdubbing and layering. He was, I don't know that I would not necessarily call him an innovator, but his antennas were up. He was into what Phil Spector was doing. He was taking all these ideas from all over the place. And he was on that forefront of that kind of tip in music. Now, the Beatles were really the major force on this, but that tip from music as, just being a band playing a song to something that could only be produced in a studio. So you're now using, Brian Eno, you're using the studio as an instrument.
Well, from what I heard, the Beach Boys heard the Beatles heard Pet Sounds and went, holy shit, do this. Just kind of went to what's his name, George Martin, and went, holy fuck, how can we do this?
Right. Yeah, and people get interested in Beatles versus Stones and who's the better band. I'm there's nothing interesting there. There's no vitriol between the two bands. There's no content. It's all made up in the minds of the fans, right? So there's no actual conflict there, and there's no real relationship. The Stones, at a certain point in their career, they found themselves kind of following what the Beatles were doing to try and stay relevant. Eventually, they found that they just could settle into their own groove and just do their own thing. But, there was Her Satanic Majesty's Request was a direct response to what the Beatles were doing.
Oh, yeah.
There's no Beatles response to Satanic Majesty's Request, because if they heard the album, I don't think that they were impressed.
Yeah, that was supposed to be their answer to Sgt. Pepper's.
Right. The real relationship was between the Beatles and the Beach Boys, because first of all, there was actual, they were, one's an American band, one's a British band, so there's actual cultural crossover between the influence of the two on each other. Certainly the early Beach Boys stuff had to have been an influence on the early Beatles, but then it just kept going,
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reciprocal until unfortunately, whereas everybody kind of came around the Beatles and supported them in what they wanted to do. Radical things for the time, not playing live. doing more in-studio edits and making songs that couldn't even be reproduced live with the four of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you're ever doing I'm the Walrus live. Ever.
Right.
Strawberry Fields, never doing that live.
And, Brian Wilson wanted to go that route too. It's just he didn't have the team to support him. His father didn't support him. His siblings didn't support him. His bandmates didn't support him. The label didn't support him. They were like, no, we can just make, let's make another song called Surfin' Blank. You fill in the blank. We'll provide the same riff. And let's get on fucking tour and make some money and have girls scream at us. That was their concern. Speaking of music, another R.I.P.
Oh, yeah, we had
coming too fast and furious
That's
lately.
right.
Taylor Hawkins, out of nowhere, while on tour with the Foo Fighters. I don't know if you heard the news today, but apparently it was an enlarged heart.
Yeah, like really enlarged, like 10 times.
Yeah, I don't like 10
number
times.
I heard.
Is a lot.
No, 10 is the number of substances.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it majorly enlarged heart, and just, guy did a lot of drugs, I guess.
Yeah, well, I heard today so far, opiates, antidepressants, THC, something else. Oh, benzos.
Yeah. Yeah, the first three, that's like half of America.
Right.
But I think the benzos probably tip you over.
Oh, depends what benzos you're on.
Yeah.
But
But that's just a tragedy. I mean, he's just such a great drummer.
Yeah, like the drummer.
Started out with,
Dave Grohl said, "Hey, be my drummer."
Right.
Like that's got to give you wood if you're a drummer.
And I'm a fan. I'm a Sunny Day fan, and I like the drummer that they had originally, but it just didn't fit with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
like they needed somebody a bit more bombastic, and I forget the name of the Sunny Day guy, but he's just a little too math rocky.
William Goldsmith?
Maybe, yeah. Sounds like could be.
I'm trying to go through Foo Fighters members in my head. Because Chris Shiflett stayed. And Nate Mendel plays bass. So yeah, it's got to be William Goldsmith. But yeah, the first thing I thought, drugs, right? And it's 50-year-olds, in 2022, 50-year-olds don't just die. And when they have lately, it's been drugs. DMX, Michael K. Williams. Who else recently?
I'm blanking, but
I was Bob Saget, but no, he fell. He died old guy way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is this it for the Foo Fighters?
Oh, I can't. I mean, they had to cancel the dates on their tour.
27 years he's been.
They didn't just lose a drummer, right? Like they're in the Hall of Fame together. They lost. They essentially lost a relative.
Yeah, 27 years as a band, and Taylor Hawkins was in them for 20.
I think 25.
5? Yeah. So.
Because it was really just that first album and tour that the original lineup survived.
Yeah, so if you're Dave Grohl, do you just go, well, said everybody?
No, I think you carry on. Don't you think? That's what Taylor would have wanted, right?
I suppose.
If there's an afterlife and he's looking down on Foo Fighters, he'd probably be pissed if they just called it quits.
Right. Don't stop rocking.
Yeah.
Don't let the music die. Don't replace me. Come on. Kids in the Hall?
I don't remember that.
It's Bruce McCullough.
I was watching him do a Gavin the other day when he goes into the police station. He says, I'd like to report a man leaking.
But you remember the Garage Band? Trampoline Girl?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that one now.
But, it's Taylor Hawkins, he was definitely in shape, so this definitely wasn't.
He was in A shape.
Right.
He was like in an Iggy Pop shape. Who knows? He's probably one of those. If it wasn't for the heart, he would probably go on forever. Like he'd be one of those guys. No, he didn't. He didn't look sickly.
I heard somebody say he actually looked like he actually reminded them of the real live animal.
Oh yeah.
He played drums.
That's a good description.
Yeah.
He's a fun drummer to watch, that's for sure.
Could Animal sing Queen songs, though? I will say, I saw the other day, they covered Somebody to Love live. And Taylor Hawkins sang it, and they started it. I was like,
oh, really?
You're going to do, like, this is a bold choice for a vocalist.
Yeah, that's up there, man.
And
like
he nailed it.
It starts high.
Yeah. Well, and he knew when to lay, he knew his vocal limits. Cause apparently now, like, I was watching, it was, them from last year. It's a production now. It ain't just, like 3 guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer. Oh no. There's 3 girls singing backup. There's a percussionist. There's a keyboardist.
Oh wow. They've gone like full Black Crowes, huh?
Oh yeah. So he knew when to defer to the background singers. Like at that high note at the end, he does not hit it.
Yeah.
He lets the hefty background singer take that one.
Absolutely.
But no, it was good, and I was impressed. And I know a lot of people they're iffy on the Foo Fighters cover of Have a Cigar. He sings lead on that one.
I can't remember if I've heard that one or not.
Oh.
Where did that one pop up?
It was actually on like the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack.
It had to have been for a soundtrack.
Yeah. Here it is.
All right.
Yeah. Brian May's on it with him. That's why I like it. They let him wail at the end.
But I'm trying to think of like, what are the good Pink Floyd covers? Because I'm having a hard time thinking of any. Like, you know, a lot of people have sang like "Wish You Were Here," but that's a layup.
The Catherine Wheel does do a good version of "Wish You Were Here."
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you. That's one where I think they do a good job with the song, and they add their own.
But they just do the song.
Well, right. That's why I'm saying it's a layup. Like, you learn a few chords on guitar, and like you can sing that for somebody, and they'd be impressed, right? I know that song, but but most Pink Floyd songs, I mean, yeah, of course they've got some great guitar hooks, but it doesn't translate into like rock songs, really. Like, they've got a different groove to them.
I don't know why Radiohead just hasn't leaned into it and covered Dark Side of the Moon.
Right? Oh, well, hey, that reminds me. There actually are some great cover the Flaming Lips did with, I think it was Henry Rollins that did all the spoken word parts for Dark Side of the Moon. They did a complete cover of the album. There was a whole series that they were doing for a while where they get a couple artists to join up and cover a classic album. And yeah, the Flaming Lips version of Dark Side of the Moon, the entire album, it's actually pretty interesting.
Eclipse featuring Henry Rollins. That's a short one. Let's hear this.
This might be the one that strays furthest, but they generally don't mess with the arrangements. They just do it with their own crazy instruments and production.
Oh, he's actually singing?
No, that's Wayne Coyne. No, this one has probably Rollins is just doing the part at the end, right? There's no dark side of the moon. It's all dark.
The end. Oh, there it is. There. Oh, there you go. Still got the heartbeats.
There's no dark side of the moon, really.
Oh.
Matter of fact, it's all dark.
See.
I wonder how much he got paid for that.
I don't know how that works. I mean, I think actually that was part of a charity project.
Flaming Side of the Moon session. Oh, it's a Funny or Die video. Yoshimi battles the pink robots.
That's an album by Flaming Lips.
I know. Why is that coming up under?
No.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The world around us is smart. We think your education should be smart too. With the FlexPath learning format from Capella University, you can set your own deadlines and leverage your experience to move forward at your pace. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with the beautiful green lawn. Keep it looking sharp and save $50 on the Cobalt 40-volt self-propelled mower. Was $399, now just $349. And give the rest of your yard a healthy boost with a bag of our premium mulch at the everyday low price of $368. Create a season full of happiness at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 through 4/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.
The world around us is smart. We think your education should be smart too. With the FlexPath learning format from Capella University, you can set your own deadlines and leverage your experience to move forward at your pace. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with getting outside with lots of friends and family. Get those spring gatherings going with our 5-piece dining sets at our everyday low price starting at $628. Then cook up an endless amount of possibilities with our Blackstone griddle starting at $299. Create a season full of togetherness and make spring sizzle at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 to 4/6. U.S. only. Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with the beautiful green lawn. Keep it looking sharp and save $50 on the Cobalt 40-volt self-propelled mower. Was $399, now just $349. And give the rest of your yard a healthy boost with a bag of our premium mulch at the everyday low price of $368. Create a season full of happiness at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 through 4/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
We can move on to some weed news.
Weeds.
Well,
What's going on with the weeds?
This is going to be a big week, possibly for cannabis, because they're gearing up to finally vote on which one was it? The MORE Act, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, and yeah, so the House is going to vote on it this week. Actually, the week we're recording this, so they say, and there's been a bunch of amendments that have been proposed for it as well. So Representative Dan Bishop is one, and this all comes from the Marijuana Moment, and I can't say this enough, the most complete and thorough source for cannabis news. Big fan. So Dan Bishop, just Bishop, singular. He's a Republican from North Carolina, so let's see what he wants. Require the Transportation Secretary and Attorney General to develop and publish best practices for the recognition and testing of drivers impaired by marijuana before any provision of the legalization bill could take effect. Yeah, it's certainly been something that they've tried to implement across the nation, but nobody's been able to do it with any success. We've heard a number of stories over the past 4 years of here's a cannabis breathalyzer.
Yeah, we keep
this is going to change the game.
Breathalyzer every few months.
Yeah, I haven't seen them actually be put to the test, and I think it's because when they actually get the team of lawyers to look at these things, they're like, this is not defensible. You're going to get laughed out of court with these results. It's not telling you anything conclusive about whether the driver's impaired or not. Representative Connor Lamb, he was one of 6 Democrats, according to the Marijuana Moment, that voted against the MORE Act in the last session. And he proposed some changes requiring the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health to conduct a study on, quote, the impact of legalization of recreational cannabis by states on the workplace, and to develop best practices for use by employers that are transitioning their policies related to the use of recreational cannabis, prioritizing the development of best blah, 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 blah. You think the companies can't handle this? They need the government.
They got to get OSHA involved. OSHA's got to tell them what to do.
Daddy's got to come in and tell you how to handle this. You can't just go, oh, look, we're just not going to test for it anymore. And that's it.
Yup. I mean, that's who's in charge right now. The side that likes daddy coming in and telling you what to do.
Second would mandate that the Secretary of Education conduct a study on the impact of the legalization of recreational cannabis by states on schools and school-age children. Look, dude.
Oh, my God.
Educate yourself. We have the studies. And you know what? They show that everywhere that pot has been legal, teen use has either plateaued or dropped. And let's be clear about this. Teen use of cannabis is not on the rise. In many places, it's dropping. Now, are they finding other shit that they like better than marijuana? I think so.
It's going to raid the medicine cabinet.
But leave marijuana out. This generation, I don't think they're going to be heads, man.
Good. More for us.
Not by the majority, yeah. Third would maintain enhanced federal penalties for distributing more than 5 grams of marijuana. And I don't understand this either. Okay, we'll give you your legal cannabis, but we're really going to crack down on those who break the rules now. To what end?
More than 5 grams, so I can sell you an eighth, but I can't sell you a quarter.
I mean, just the fact alone that you're legalizing it and that it will be available for purchase at a store is going to put a major dent in illegal traffic. You don't need to up the penalties, and certainly we don't need more people in jail.
You're not supposed to be making and distributing your own alcohol, but guess what? There are thousands, probably tens of thousands of home brew clubs across the country that do exactly that.
Yeah, and you know why? I mean, they don't get bothered because, A, there's no criminal activity around it. You know, technically what they're doing may be criminal, but it has nothing to do with any other. They're not running it over borders, right?
But if you go by the
they're
letter
not
of the
selling
law,
it to minors.
If somebody home brews something and gives it to me, they've now distributed.
Absolutely. By the letter of the law, they may be breaking it, but there's nothing to be gained here. You're not roping in any criminal element by going after the home brewers.
I agree.
You're going after people with money who may even be able to afford some lawyers, and just you're looking for a whole mess, a legal mess, and a PR nightmare.
I agree with you. I'm trying to show the silliness of the weed.
I'm just drawing it out here because all this should apply to cannabis. It should be the same thing, right? And just the fact that it's legal, liquor, alcohol, beer, all of it, legal and affordable all over the country. And there's all these home brewers that you're pointing out, and yet zero actual traffic. None of this affects commercial production of alcohol. And that's how cannabis could be. But anyway, we get off track. Let's see if there's any other more amendments that they're looking for in here that are interesting. Seeks to provide $10 million in National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to conduct technologies and methods that law enforcement may use to determine whether a driver is impaired by marijuana. I actually support this because I would like that. I would like for them to be able to tell whether I was impaired or not, because I don't drive impaired. And if their test works, then they're not going to give a fuck about how much or when or where, if it can actually tell impairment. So it goes on, but we're not going to pull this whole thing apart. But just the fact that, people have demands, right? So, Dan Bishop, a Republican from North Carolina, probably not likely in the past to support something like this. But if he is saying, well, I'd like an amendment that, whether right or wrong, if he wants an amendment that to focus on testing of impaired drivers, well, then that shows that he's a likely yes vote. Or Connor Lamb, a Democrat who voted no on it last session, if he's got a list of things of amendments to this bill, That's a pretty good sign that he could be a yes vote this time around. But then, of course, it's got to get through the Senate and then on to the president. And if the White House has given any indication about how they would land on this, it's really only been through the recent budget plan, which we know that the federal budget controls Washington, D.C., right? And even though Washington, D.C., in their local legislation, legalized cannabis within their area, because their purse strings are directly controlled by the federal government has the decision on how they can spend their money and what they can spend it on. And they're telling them they can't spend it on setting up a legal cannabis market. And Biden's bill continues that. So I don't know. I mean, if you're thinking that the White House might support this, maybe that would be a sign that they would support if they were willing to release the grip on cannabis in Washington, D.C. But
President Grandpa still thinks it's a gateway drug, doesn't he?
I mean, it seems to. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Jeff Dunham's puppet, Walter?
I'm pretty sure I've seen them all, but I don't know them by name.
It's the old guy, and Joe Biden looks more and more like him every day.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
He's a man in his 80s. I don't think it's fair when people jump on him for his verbal gaffes. Like, really? Let's see you when you're 82. You going to be spouting everything off perfect?
Yeah.
Or even, isn't he like 80? I'm aging him a year or two.
I don't know.
If I'm lucid at his age, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
He's a goddamn president. You got South Dakota on your agenda over there?
South Dakota. What's going on in South Dakota?
What's the story I sent?
Oh, about Kristi Noem?
Yeah.
The governor? Yeah, she's
just mad at weed.
She did, well, so she vetoed a bill that would have expunged past marijuana convictions, saying that it, quote, it also essentially codifies a convicted person's ability to be dishonest about their previous arrest and conviction by not requiring disclosure of the prior drug conviction.
Well, if it's expunged, they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
Like, what?
I don't think she understands how this works.
I feel like this person is in our age group. Like, what is her deal?
I don't understand how people can, like, have this mental disconnect. Once you start considering that cannabis should be legal for, adults who are responsible and use it responsibly, then it follows that you have to expunge these past offenses, right? You can't have a whole society of people doing things freely and openly while having a segment of it being punished by the same action just because they happen to do it at the wrong date. Like, once you've decided to move forward on something and say, well, maybe we were wrong about this, you have to right that wrong. And it's the mental disconnect that Kristi Noem and many other do is this idea of like, okay, well, I'll come around to your idea that this is mostly harmless and, it mostly enjoyed responsibly. And so we should get some concession and let people who want to enjoy this enjoy it and let people who could benefit from it medically benefit. But it's still a drug and it's still wrong. And you're still a drug user and you shouldn't be able to lie about it.
Show me on the bong.
You're still a bad person.
Where the pot leaf touched you, Kristi Noem.
Right? And then Kristi Noem goes home and has her cocktails and probably pops a few pills.
Like, citizens voted it in. She stopped it. Now she's doing this. Like, what is... Like, I just don't... She has just got a bug up her ass about weed. Is she Republican? Isn't she all about, hey, doing what you want? Leave me out of it?
Yeah, South Dakotan Republican, no less. Like, that's practically libertarian.
Yeah. She is just mad at weed.
And that's not really what the veto is for. I mean, the people have fucking spoken. So I don't know. I mean, usually the veto is used sparingly because the thought is that if you just veto everything, then what is the point of having an elected leader?
It wasn't vetoed, remember? She found some workaround. It wasn't,
regardless, if you find a way to completely subvert the will of the people, you're likely to be voted out of office.
She sued
That's what I'm
the
saying.
state Supreme Court or some shit, or She did something where she got what she wanted.
Because mommy knows best on this. I know you think you want cannabis.
Meanwhile, people in South Dakota are like, son of a bitch, I got to keep driving to Colorado. You know how much gas is right now?
Yeah, no shit. The DEA released an emoji drug code, so we can all decode drug messages now.
Oh, like what?
Let's see. I'll have to send you this.
What's the emoji code for reefer? Is it the old man emoji? Because nobody calls it that, but old guys.
Common emoji codes. So Percocet and oxycodone. So there's a pill emoji. That could be anything. There's a blue dot. There's a P in a square, and there's banana. Xanax.
Alrighty.
Could be a pill. Could be what looks to be a chocolate bar.
Oh, Xanny bar. Okay,
right.
I get it.
Or a bus.
Couldn't tell you that one.
It looks like a bus. They would go for taxi.
Adderall's the pill, and then the A, and then the train emoji.
Oh, that's a train. Oh, I thought it was an alien.
Riding that A train.
It looks like an alien with like big blue eyes. Let's see. Oh, here's the dealer signal.
I'm familiar with these, being on the road and looking for weed.
Yeah. Dealer advertising. So $ on the face. What? So
it's the smiley face with a $ for a tongue.
Yeah, and eyes. Or a crown. You can use a crown emoji. Mm-hmm. A bag of money. Just dollar bill. What's the plug? Like you get the hookup?
Your plug, yeah.
Yeah. High potency, rocket, bomb, or explosion.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Universal for drugs?
The Canadian leaf.
Maple leaf? Really?
Canada. You okay with this, drugs? Trudeau?
Large batch is a cookie. Yeah, okay. Other drugs. Oh, here we go. Here's the hard stuff. Meth. What is that? Is that a crystal ball?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like there's a moon with a line under it. The blue heart is for meth. The diamond is for meth. Little test tube.
Mm-hmm. Heroin's a brown heart.
So notice they're all blue because, meth is blue now because of Breaking Bad.
I guess
I don't know if you knew that. It really is.
Heroin's a brown heart or a dragon.
No, that makes sense. Cocaine, snow.
Yeah, anything
Snowing
to do with
clouds, snowman, diamond, 8-ball, key, smiley face and a fish. I don't get the last two.
Smiley face with the tongue hanging out. And I don't understand the fish.
Yeah, smiley face with the tongue hanging out. That's acid. Right?
Maybe to us middle-aged gentlemen.
How do we get some Molly? You got to text a red heart, a blue clover, pink diamonds.
Right.
Lightning bolt, an X. That makes sense. Another pill. It could be anything.
Like a candy emoji.
If your dealer is sending you emojis of like the generic pill, like how would you know what that means?
Right. I'm getting all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Mushrooms. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
How do you say there's a mushroom emoji. Cough syrup is great, purple heart, or a baby bottle.
And then weed. Good old marijuana.
The only one that beats it for number of emojis is cocaine.
Right? People like weed.
So there's 7 emojis for cannabis. Actually, no, one of those is doubled. Oh, unless I think what they're trying to show there is it's the face with the wind. So like wind blowing is one, and then I think the surprised face with wind blowing after it is another.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because they show the wind blowing there
blowing
twice.
Smoke, yeah.
It's the kerning. They should have kept the two emojis close to each other, or maybe bracketed them. But yeah, fire, a palm tree, a fir tree, a clover.
All right. Well, now we know how to ask for drugs using emojis.
Yeah, I think it's still situationally dependent. You'd have to know. I don't think a parent would be able to look at their child's text messages and be like, "We're going to decode this."
Right. It looks like they're going up north. They got a lot of trees here.
Yeah.
Was it Halloween? They keep talking about candy.
Did you see Seth Rogen's rebranding?
No. Is his cannabis or just himself?
His cannabis brand. No, not himself. Well, kind of himself, right?
He rebranded himself as not being funny anymore a couple years ago.
Well, he also when he cut his beard off, got a haircut. But no, his houseplant brand has got a whole new look. And I don't know. I think people like it because the containers that it comes in, they stack like Lego blocks. And they're brightly colored. You could use them over and over again, too.
It's very IKEA.
Yeah, it is very. Yeah, just like bold, flat colors, blocky fonts, and just real simple, like generic look to everything.
Is that still weed? All these things in the pictures are like gravity glass, car lighter, ashtray.
No, there's there's the little blocks have an eighter in them.
Oh.
And then there's what looks like kind of the Altoid tin size. Those have 7 pre-rolled joints in them, or essentially an eighth that just pre-rolled. But he's also got there's, I don't know, what's in the ashtray set.
Right.
Some of these I wish they would unbox because it's not like there's a picture on the box. It's a rather cryptic looking block table lighter.
Looks like shit for stoners with a bunch of money.
Yeah. Houseplant matches. That's a real fan. You
Right.
gotta get the matches.
Who the fuck? Who buys matches? Have you ever bought matches?
I think the long ones.
No, yeah, like maybe for the barbecue or something, right? But I'm saying like matches.
No,
you always get those free.
No, I want to say at one point I bought like a bulk, like you can actually just buy like a bulk pack of matches at the grocery store. And I had one in the house because I knew so many people that smoked.
You're like the concierge,
yeah.
People tipping you.
Yeah, I would hang out in the bathroom of my place all the time. I'd have a bowl of matches and some mints, and
Aaron, this is weird. This is one person bathroom.
Yeah.
No, I'm standing in the tub. I'll just pull the curtain.
I'm a professional. Don't worry about it.
I warm up my hands. Don't worry. Does anybody give out matches anymore? Or is that a Days of Yore thing?
Well, in what situation would you give them out? Because
I remember like at restaurants.
Right, but you could smoke in the restaurant.
No, not even that. Just they'd be at like the register or something. Like just, you'd leave. It would be a way that a business would promote itself.
Yeah, because you'd take it like, I can always use these, and then you're smoking, and you hand it to somebody. Oh, you were at so and so, and oh yeah. But now
you get them at weddings.
Yeah, but now smoking cigarettes is looked down on. So do you want to advertise to smokers?
I think giving away a vape battery to each table at a wedding would be expensive.
Yeah, well, that's still looked down on too. You can't win.
Right. Can you not vape in here? Why? That was my question.
Yeah.
But then I don't.
Yeah, because it makes me think of cigarettes.
Sorry I've made it smell so fruity and delicious in here. My fault.
Yeah.
Sorry I made you think of apples.
Or people that don't vape in my bathroom. Why not? It's like the best smelling thing that happens in there.
Yeah, I just did your bathroom a favor.
Yeah. I come with my own deodorant. Ooh, here's an idea for an invention. A vape pen that goes in your butt.
Wasn't that kind of like Adam Carolla had the vape juice that smells like ass?
That's right. No, this would be the opposite. This would be so that you would fart whatever fruity thing you wanted to fart. His was so that you could vape in the bathroom and nobody would know. Because it smells like poo anyway. And you wouldn't have to put the vape in your butt.
Gotcha. Saying if it comes to anal insertion, I might consider giving up the habit.
Yeah, no, this would just be for just being thoughtful about others around you. You're not actually inhaling it through your butt. You're blowing it out your ass.
Then you'd still get accused of vaping. It'd be, it smells like strawberries in here. I didn't vape.
Yeah. It could have been worse.
You should be glad it smells like strawberries in here.
Yeah, but it's always about association, right? If you farted strawberries, you'd probably stop. You wouldn't like the smell of strawberries anymore because you know where the source is.
It's true. So is that it? People just don't like walking around in a cloud of something that's been inside of somebody else?
Well, that's kind of understandable these days, isn't it?
It's true.
I mean, if you're to vape indoors, there's actual visual evidence of where all of the vapor coming out of your lungs is going.
See, but I'm doing you a favor. You can avoid it.
Right.
You can see it.
That's how I dodge the COVID. Make sure everybody vapes. You see it coming.
Whatever. I did the safety dance and I still got it. I'll do the medicines they recommend.
So, all right. Well, that's enough for today then.
All righty. Find us on the social media at the Weedsman420 on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Email us, the Weedsman Podcast at ChristopherMedia.net. Go to ChristopherMedia.net. Hit the PayPal button. Hit the Amazon button if you would like to help us out without doing anything extra. Well, maybe the PayPal one. But you can give us those as you want. We have someone that donates $1.50 every month. And God bless you. Or whatever bless you. Whatever you believe bless you. That shows, hey, man, they care. They give a crap. That's awesome. Thank you for that. If you want to do that, that's only, you give us $0.25 a month. Whatever you think it's there. So hit the PayPal button, please. And wherever you listen to us, rate us, review us. That's how you help people find us. 1 to 5 stars. We like to know we're succeeding. We also like to know, we're missing the mark. Tell us. So rate us, review us. That's how you can help people find us. Other than that, stay high.
Stay high. The Smiths are fucking assholes.
Great news from Rocket Mortgage. You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In fact, in the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could unlock all that cash in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up, because nobody knows how long these low rates will last. Put your hard-earned money to work. Make your life better. Build a home office. Remodel your kitchen. Or simply save that cash for a rainy day. Today's rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.25%, 3.48% APR, so you can lock in a great low monthly payment. When you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with getting outside with lots of friends and family. Get those spring gatherings going with our 5-piece dining sets at our everyday low price starting at $6.28. Then cook up an endless amount of possibilities with our Blackstone griddles starting at $2.99. Create a season full of togetherness and make spring sizzle. At Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 to 4/6, U.S. only.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.